Hello and welcome to the Quantum Love Codes Masterclass. I am so excited that you're here and I am just so ready to dive in and share all of this with you. I'm going to let everyone in from the waiting room because this is a recording of a live masterclass. And from here, I hope you enjoy yourself. If you haven't yet, get your pen, your journal, some tea, get yourself comfy, and get ready to dive in. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
How
how
are
are
you?
you?
Good. How are you?
And you?
Good. Doing good.
Great.
How's everyone else doing?
Hello.
Hello, hello. So we're just gonna give a couple of minutes because everyone loves to come at different times. And so just get yourself comfy. Get your tea if you haven't yet, journal, water, pen, whatever you need. Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
Hello.
My cruise ship.
You're still cruising.
It's my work.
Okay. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited. So excited. I was getting a little nervous before, but then did some shaking and some breathing. So
Got this. You're always so good.
thank you. I think when it's something you like love so much and there's so much to share, I'm just like, all right. But
Yeah.
amazing. We've just got a few more people joining and then I'll keep admitting them as they do. Hello. Welcome.
Hello, I am walking right now, but that's why I mute myself. But
Okay,
I'm
no worries at
listening.
all. Happy you're here.
See you.
Hi, Andrea. Welcome. Hi, Merce. Welcome. Amazing. All right. So we're going to start with just a little grounding anyway. So I think we will be okay as people continue to join. But I know we've got a little bit of a diverse crowd. I'm curious where everyone's located. So if you haven't joined one of my master classes before, I love to make them really interactive. Otherwise, it's just me talking to a screen for 2 hours and I can go a little crazy. So, I'm going to ask throughout just that you share different things within the chat. So, if you can't find it, it's down below. I'm going to invite you to just open that up now and feel comfortable. Drop your name, where you're joining from, and if you want to share what you're most excited about to learn, then share that here as well. Awesome. Ellie from the Netherlands. Will ground myself when I reach home, definitely. Chloe from Geneva. Amazing. Barcelona. Yes, Barcelona. Beautiful. Barcelona as well. I'm sure we've got mainly Barcelona here. Awesome. Well, let's dive in, my love. So, first of all, just welcome. I'm so excited. I'll do a little bit of an introduction after we drop in, and hi, Simona, as well. Um, but I just want to take a moment to celebrate you all because I know that the topic of love and then of energy, attachment style, nervous system regulation, these aren't light topics. They aren't always easy topics to celebrate. So just take a moment right now and really celebrate yourself. Like you decided to show up to take the next 90 minutes, possibly 2 hours for yourself, and to just absorb this information, to show up for yourself and learn what it is that you need in this moment. So I really just want to say, I see you and I'm freaking so proud of you. And I'm so grateful to have you all here and to share with you these codes. And if at any point throughout this masterclass you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself. Like, this isn't just me talking at you. I want this to be interactive, fun, and yeah, something that we're all feeling a part of. So feel free to please just drop anything in the chat, but really take that moment, celebrate yourself for being here, for showing up, and for saying yes to yourself, because this work has been truly transformational for me, and I'm super, super excited to share it with you all. So let's take a moment and drop in. I'm gonna play some music here. Might not be too loud with my voice, but we'll do a nice little breathing session just to drop into our bodies, out of our minds, and clear the day away. So I'll invite you to, when you're ready, take any wiggles first out of the body. Anything that needs to go, let it go. And start to breathe as you do this. Let it go, let it go. Maybe even shaking the feet, shaking the legs, wiggling out the hips. What do you need? And then when you're ready, come into stillness. Let the hands drop into your lap. Take a deep breath in through the nose and let it go. And again, in through the nose. Feel the belly, the chest, the collarbones expand and let it go. We'll do one more just like that, in through the nose. Feel the entire body expand, maybe even become aware of the energy outside of your body as we're going to be connecting to this energy today. And then let it go. And let your breathing return to normal now. And as you breathe, I just invite you to become aware of the energy around your body. We're going to be working a lot today with our personal frequency and how that is created. And I really invite you to just start connecting to this other world outside of the 3D, outside of the logical mind, the frequency around you within your bubble. Notice where you're vibrating right now. And notice from that vibration, your personal vibration, where is that emanating from? What's happening within you now? If you go within the body, underneath the skin. Any tingling, warmth, cooling effects, heaviness, lightness. Just become aware and allow. tuning into a gentle curiosity and allowing for yourself for the next 90 minutes. Let yourself fully drop in. And when you're ready, you can bring your hands to your heart. And one more time, just come back to that feeling of gratitude, of celebration, of pride for yourself, for showing up, for committing, for saying yes, to you, for deciding, I'm ready to learn more, I'm ready to shift. And send some love into your heart. And just take one more deep breath there. And let it go. And when you're ready, you can slowly start to open your eyes and come back. Hello, hello, hello. Amazing. So we made it and we're here. Why are we here? So I know you're here because you're someone who knows that they're ready to shift. And you are someone who isn't afraid to do that deep work. You're someone who is willing to look inward, to face these uncomfortable truths of your life, of your past, of your experiences, whatever that may be, and transform them into your greatest strengths. I know that you're someone who takes personal responsibility for your life. And because of that, you're here because you don't want to be the victim. You want to turn into the creatrix of your 3D reality and open your heart to love. And you're here to learn how to magnetize yourself, how to become the most irresistible center point of attraction for all of your desires, including deep, deep love. And because you're here, I just want you to know, I know this is possible for you. Seeing what I've been able to take myself through and what I'm going to share with you today, I know that the fact that you have simply shown up for yourself today, that you're willing to explore and to grow, that means that you already have everything within you to attract the love that you desire. So just let that land, maybe breathe into that one more time, and really feel that in your body. So who am I? For those that don't know me, and even those that do, every day I get a little bit weirder, so there's always something new to learn. But I am Kendall Beatty, Kendall St. Clair. I am a trauma-informed somatic healer, a Reiki master, a hypnotherapist, sound healer, and a yoga teacher. And my purpose on this earth is to guide queens, to guide women, to guide really anyone, but into love. But today we're focusing on the queens in this call, to step into their creatrix power, to self-heal, to break cycles, and to go from, is this it? Is this all that there is? To stepping into that holy shit feeling in love, in life, in wealth, and in business. And a little few things about me. As you can see from here, I'm a huge jokester. I love playing pranks. And I love inner child work because of that, because I just think being playful and silly is the best energy that we could possibly be in. I'm a Gemini. I am a manifester as well in human design. I love reading. I love camping. I love cooking. Tarot. I love the sun. My company is Sunshine Activation. My nickname was always Sunshine from my dad growing up. And then two things you might not know about me at all, even if you follow me on Instagram. I'm a huge capybara enthusiast. I've been obsessed with them for so long, so they get some some clout here. And I also have a really emo soft side. And when I was in middle school and high school, I was super, super emo. And I still love screamo and all of the things that bring me back into all of my feels. And I think that aligns a lot with the work that I do, is just guiding people through the depths and the darkness and really being able to just feel, process, and transmute that darkness into light. So it's a little bit about me, just so you know who's on the other side of this screen. And why love in relationships? Why is this something that I'm so passionate about and so ready to share with the world? So the first is that we as humans, we are just hardwired for connection. So often we think I can be alone, I can do everything alone, right? A lot of people have this thought. And the truth is that we are hardwired to connect with other humans. We are hardwired to have these relationships, these friendships, whatever it may be, that are allowing us to build these supportive relationships, that are allowing us to get the connection and the support that we need through life. And so I chose love and relationships as something because it's one, something I know that every human on earth needs, but it's also something that's affected me greatly. Um, when I was one, my parents divorced, then they both remarried. They both divorced again when I was 6 and 14. So I think seeing that, I've had a lot of my own stories around what's possible for me in love, in friendships, in having healthy relationships in general. And I've been able to really uncode a lot of these limiting beliefs and these somatic cellular memories that I've created. But I think the real reason this came into my field was over the last few years, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my story as we go through. But I was in a 3-year relationship when I was living in San Diego before I moved to Barcelona. And I thought I was going to marry that person, although it was very evident that he was not able to meet my emotional needs on any level. And I was constantly asking for more connection, just more attention, more affirmation, more love, really. And although it was very evident he couldn't give it to me, I decided to settle. I decided this is good enough. I'm happy enough. And I was in that cycle for a few years, but about every 6 months or so, he would decide he didn't want this. He was very avoidant, and we'll learn more about that attachment style coming up. But he would pull away until the end of our relationship when he really just out of the blue ended it. And I was absolutely devastated. And that was really what led me to start studying attachment style because I didn't realize how anxious I was. And previous to that, I didn't realize how avoidant I was. So I myself am someone that had a disorganized attachment style. And that's something I'm still healing every day because this is a journey that we are always on. But these last 2 years since that relationship, when I was absolutely devastated and I didn't know what to do with my life. Like I couldn't picture my life without him. And that's not really it's not who I am. But I'd created that dependency so deeply, and now I know that that's rooted from how I attached to my caretakers in childhood. But this topic has transformed my life because over the last 2 years, as I have learned more about attachment style, somatic healing, nervous system regulation, and energetics, which I've been working in energetics and subconscious mind work for the past 6 years now, but attachment style and nervous system regulation really came in the last two. I have transformed into such a different person. And what I mean by that is I've come home to my real self and I've become so much more confident and comfortable in my skin to just be who I really am. And through that, that's been what has allowed me to then magnetize my now partner, someone who is supportive and loving and open and safe. And I truly do feel is my soulmate from a place of grounded knowing, safety and connectedness to myself rather than desperation and needing that partner, needing that affirmation or approval of someone else. And this is really what I want to share with you all now, is how to tap into that just divinity and that magnetism and that irresistibility to love that comes through working through the fear. And so today we're going to go through energetics at first, the energetics of love and attachment, understanding how our frequency is formed. And this will be through understanding attachment style. Then from that, how to magnetize your frequency and how to shift your frequency using the signature clam method, which sounds hilarious, but you'll understand why that is the name of it soon. The universal love frequency, what that means and how to tap into it, and then how to become that magnet, how to magnetize those secure, healthy relationships. And what you'll see throughout this and just throughout the stories, and the reason I storytell is to help your subconscious mind and your conscious mind get on board, to realize that this is possible. If it can happen for someone else, then it expands your perception of reality to see what can happen for you too. So that's where this storytelling comes in. And because I'm also a 3-line in human design, and so I teach best through personal experience. And so I'll always share with you what I've gone through, and that helps me relate to you and understand as well where you're at. And the thing we'll end with is a quantum healing demonstration. So I'll take you through the clam method and you'll be able to experience that firsthand for yourselves. And before we dive into that, just some disclaimers, because as I said, this stuff can be quite heavy. So one is to use your agency. Take what works for you, leave what doesn't. I am sharing from my personal experience and what I have studied, but you know what works best for you. So if something just does not feel right in your body, leave it. And there is no forcing. There is no, this is the Bible. It's, this is the only truth. This is my experience. And I share with you from my wisdom in my heart. And I'm sharing this with you to inform you and educate you so you can understand yourself better. So a lot of times when we start to do deep work, we can beat ourselves up. We can then go even further into that shame journey and really feel bad about, wow, I've been carrying this pain for so long, or I'm ashamed of this experience or this perspective. But this information is really meant to empower you and to help you make positive change. So allow that to just be something as you observe yourself more. Just be like, wow, with this knowledge and understanding, I can now shift. Right? The more awareness we have of our shadows, the more light we shine onto them, the easier it is to transmute. So just to let yourself have a loving awareness for what comes up. And through that, we don't want to beat ourselves up, and we don't want to beat or blame our parents, our caretakers, or anyone else that's been a part of our journey. So using that as well, using your agency there. As we talk about attachment style, I want you to know you are not confined by your attachment style. These labels can sometimes create identities of I'm anxious, I'm disorganized, I'm avoidant, I'm insecure, non-secure, whatever that may be. I'm codependent. These words for me are for our conscious mind to be able to process and understand what it is that I'm explaining, just so that we have a definition, just that we have a general understanding, but they're not labels. So don't make it a life sentence for yourself. Don't confine yourself to it. Know that number one, it's healable. That's why we're here, right? Is this work? And number two, it's not who you are. It's just something that you're learning about yourself that you're able to shift if you decide that you want to, if you decide that you're ready to make a change. And lastly is there will be no trigger warnings. So some topics might be sensitive, they may evoke emotion, and I'm not going to say we're not going to dive into something. So if something feels heavy, we're not going too deep, but just give yourself space, take a break, pause if you need. If you need to drop, that's okay. If you're watching the replay, take a pause, take some deep breaths, and just know this is deep stuff. It roots back to childhood. And so I'm here to support you. I'm here to hold space. Use the chat as needed and just know that you're held and you're safe. Any questions on any of that? Okay. And hello to everyone else that has continued joining. So happy you're here. So let's dive in. Another thing, I'm super corny, so I don't think there's that many corny things in the slides, but just a warning there. All right, so understanding energy. So to start off, everything is energy. And maybe you know this, maybe this is common sense. Maybe this brings you back to like a chemistry class that you had that was traumatizing. I know it was for me when I first started studying energy, but everything on earth is made of energy. And the reason this is so important for us to understand is because it's not just the physical, right? It's not just my hair has energy, my mouse has energy, the seat I'm sitting in has energy. Everything has an energy, everything has a frequency. And so from that, it's every physical and non-physical thing on earth has its own vibration, which means not only do you as a human have a frequency, but every thought, every action, every feeling, every possibility even has its own frequency. And that's what we're going to be playing around with today is the alignment and the sum of these vibrations. And so when we start to think of our own frequency, it's the collective sum of all of these individual vibrations that creates your unique vibration. And so what I mean by that is it's the sum of every thought, every feeling, every action, every habit that you have. These create your frequency. And this is why our frequency can change. And this is why it can expand, it can contract. This is why people say, I'm at a low frequency or a high frequency. And we'll get a little bit more into that in a moment. But just know that everything on earth has its own frequency. And so a lot of what we're talking about today is the frequency of the things that we cannot see. And so when we think of this frequency, put a 1 in the chat if you are aware of what this is. This is the toroid field, or if you've heard of it. Toroid torus, it can be called. And so each person on earth has one of these fields. It's an electromagnetic field vibrating around them. And from there, and I'm not going to go deep into this at all, but we have our 7 centers that each contain subconscious thoughts, somatic cellular memories. They contain our beliefs, our feelings, they create our reality. And so from these centers, we are emitting a frequency that comes out around us. And so this goes a little bit into quantum physics as well as using sacred geometry. But this field is around every single person. So when people read your aura, they may be reading more like this field and the collective sum of these vibrations. And so what's really interesting to think is that we each have this little, it's like a donut shaped ball that's going around us. And so we each have this. And from this frequency, we then become a match to what it is that we desire. So what does that mean? That means that depending on the collective sum, as we had said on the last slide, then you are attracting different things into your reality. And so that collective sum means if you are mainly vibrating high, and when I say high, we're looking here now at emotional frequencies. So if you're mainly vibrating in willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, enlightenment, here, then the collective sum of your vibration will be high. But if you mainly are vibrating in anger, fear, desire, which is really lack, scarcity, grief, apathy, guilt, shame, the collective sum of your vibration will be lower, which means depending on where you stand most of the time, you will then attract those types of experiences into your life. And this is the law of attraction. The law of attraction is like attracts like. And so you can either stay in these lower vibrations and continue to attract that level of vibration, or you learn how to let go, move forward, expand, and come into these higher vibe feelings. Which brings us into the frequency of love. So I really like to think of two different frequencies because I try to keep this as simple as possible. And so it's really either my operating in the love frequency or the fear frequency. And that's what I ask myself quite a lot. So the love frequency is attracting, it's detached, it's allowing, it flows, it surrenders, it's open, it's soft, it trusts, it's intuitive, abundance, faith, divinely guided, regulated, peaceful, magnetic. So even just reading those words, listening to them, notice what that feels like in your body, right? And then the fear frequency, which is chasing, obsessed, forcing, controlling, contracted in the body, tense, and urgency, overthinking, scarcity, fear, feeling alone, dysregulated, frustrated, and repelling. And notice as you hear those, as you read those, what does that feel like in the body? So I'm going to ask now, where do you feel that you more often are operating when you're going through your daily day to day?
I would say kind of in the middle. You know, there are some like overthinking and all that. It kind of resonates in me, but in the same time, detached, soft, trusting, and all that also like resonates with me. So a bit of both.
Thank you for sharing. And anyone else, feel free to drop that in the chat. Where do you feel like you're generally vibrating? And it's very normal, right, that we oscillate between the two because we don't want to stay always in light or always in the dark. It's really finding the balance. And then it's like, which one is my majority? And we're just creating awareness right now, curiosity. And so when we're in that fear frequency, what this can look like as well is second guessing your ability to pick a good partner for yourself, settling for people because you don't think that you can do better, staying stuck on your ex, unable to move forward, comparing your love life to your friends. And then the love frequency, what this looks like is keeping your heart open even when it's scary, creating new levels of intimacy and connection, not being afraid to speak your boundaries and your needs and actually getting them met, but from a place of softness and openness and trust. This is where you begin to effortlessly magnetize love because you're in that love frequency. Surfing the love frequency, love it, trying to be on the love side, but different situations pull me to fear. Yep. Totally get that. Totally get that. Recently on fear, usually in love when I'm in my element, but overthinking and frustration can be caging, yes. And it can take a long time to go away. So, okay, well, we're going to dive into this. Mainly in love, but sometimes triggered into fear. Okay, amazing. Thank you for sharing, everyone. So, how is our frequency formed? How do we create these patterns, right? So, your frequency, as we just said, it's like this broadcast. I like to think of it as a radio, and we're always emitting a different frequency. And with this radio, we can kind of turn the dial to become a match to whatever it is that we want, to hear the song, to receive the confirmation that we want. And so, what happens here is sometimes we can consciously pick, okay, this is the vibration that I'm going to be at. But what we're hearing, what is coming up here, right, is getting triggered, getting out of my element, putting in situations that pull me into fear, not feeling safe. That puts us into a different alignment with a different frequency that we don't consciously choose. And that's because there are subconscious limitations, subconscious programs running the show. And so, what a lot of people don't realize is our frequency is formed at first in childhood. And so, there's actually three parts here. I don't talk a lot about the subconscious mind, but I'm going to speak to it here. So, our frequency is influenced by one, our subconscious thoughts, our attachment style, and our nervous system. Our attachment style really runs the show for these subconscious thoughts. But 95% of who we are is subconscious. We aren't even aware of the stories that we tell ourselves each day, which the way that this can affect love and our frequency is if we, let's say, see someone that we find attractive and there's a subconscious belief of, oh, they would never like me. Maybe you're aware of this, but maybe you're not. They would never go for someone like me. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, that one time that I was in third grade and that person rejected me that I had a crush on, that created the story that no one's going to like me, that I'm not good enough. That is the program that can be running behind. And then this affects our attachment style based on the way our caretakers were showing up for us as well. And so, what we're going to dive into today is attachment style and the nervous system and how this affects our frequency. And so, your attachment style is formed based on the earliest relationships that you had and how your emotional needs were able to be met. And so, what I mean by that is, were your caretakers, were the people in your life able to meet your emotional needs to help you feel safe in the world, create that felt sense of safety? And were they also able to help you develop trust with yourself and with the world around you? And depending on how your needs were met, this affects the way that your nervous system then responds to connection, whether it stays in that love frequency or the fear frequency when people get close. And so then this way of responding through the nervous system creates the way that you attach to the world and interact with it, and how you as an adult now are using this information that's stored in the body, in the somatic cells of your body, in your nervous system, in the entire network of nerves coming from your brain down to your toes, right? This is affected from our attachment style, from the stories that we created around the world in childhood, generally from ages 0 to 11. And so there are 4 attachment style types. Without me even describing them, where does everyone think they sit? Put it in the chat. Disorganized, anxious, anxious. Okay. Avoidant. Depends who I'm with. Disorganized. Okay. So as we can see, right, it doesn't matter gender, age, anything. Everyone's different. Everyone has their unique way of connecting. Avoidant. I'm going to grab a throat lozenge, so give me 30 seconds. Okay, we are back. Avoidant. I was working with anxious, but sometimes I can feel disorganized. And I don't know enough, but probably a mix of avoidant and secure. Okay. So, yes, something to know is depending on who you are with, your attachment will change, your attachment style will change. And so, from these four attachment styles, these are how they're created. Anxious, preoccupied is if your parents were inconsistent or misattuned to your emotional needs, or if they were intrusive or self absorbed, helicopter parenting. So, what inconsistent or misattuned means is really they weren't paying attention to what you needed. They were thinking, what do I need? What do I need to feel better? Maybe they were making you do a lot of things to perform in order to make themselves feel better. Or if they were intrusive or a helicopter parent, then that also is them not being attuned. What does baby need? It's what does mommy, daddy need, or whoever it was that was taking care of you. And if this was your experience, as an adult, baby will become clingy, insecure, jealous, and have a fear of abandonment. So, an anxious person stops trusting themselves because they never had space for themselves, for like, they never had space as a child to be able to make mistakes or really even think for themselves. So they don't trust themselves and they overly trust the other person. And that is why they become clingy, insecure, and jealous because they don't feel that self of confidence within themselves. Then avoidant, dismissive, is formed if your parents were caretaker was unavailable or unable to meet and support your emotional needs, if they were present or distant, or they had an over expectation for you to be independent. And so this is really, if you heard a lot, toughen up, get over it, it's no big deal. Or maybe when you cried, when you needed help, when you had a bad day, it was kind of like dismissed, or you felt like too much. And it's interesting because what happens here is then into adulthood, the child stops feeling their emotions. They start to avoid them because they were never taught how to create safety in that feeling. And so, in that, the baby then, as an adult, becomes dismissive. They push away, they pull away, and they are just completely avoidant, emotionally unavailable, and hyper independent, feeling like I don't need anyone in my life. Avoidant also can look like getting annoyed if people get too close or if they are too needy. So if you constantly feel like every single partner you have is too needy, perhaps you have a bit of some avoidant dismissive tendency there. Disorganized comes from a mix of the two. So disorganized is really fearful avoidant is the name of it. And this is if your caretaker was highly contrasting, inconsistent, unpredictable. And can you scroll down? Oh, to read the bottom of this slide. Oh, there we go. Perfect. And so from this disorganized, fearful avoidant, what happens here, and this could be with a parent who maybe was an alcoholic or there was a traumatic experience that was had with the parent. And this is where the parent now becomes a sense of non-security, a sense of fear for the child. But we need the caretaker as a baby to help us. And so from that, now it's, I don't know, am I going to be fed on time? Are my emotional needs going to be met? Is this person going to be reactive? If you had a highly reactive parent, an alcoholic parent, or someone that struggled with addiction, it's very likely that you have disorganized, fearful, avoidant tendencies now, attachment style. And this shows up in adulthood as an internal conflict between closeness and vulnerability, which what that means is I want to be close to my partner and I ask for them. I put the request out there. And then when that opportunity comes, I run away. I push them away. I make them feel like it was their fault in some way to then separate myself, distance myself. And so these are the three non-secure attachment styles. And then secure is If your parent was consistently responsive, attentive to emotional needs, open and inviting, helping you to self-soothe, make mistakes, then in adulthood, baby is comfortable with intimacy and they balance that independency. So, whereas an anxious is overly dependent, an avoidant is overly independent, self reliant, disorganized, struggles, and goes back and forth between the two. And secure says, no, I can balance that, having time for myself, having time with my partner, and they feel confident in between the two. So, knowing that information now, I invite you to put in the chat, where do you feel? Avoidant. Okay. Did anyone change? Secure. Disorganized. Avoidant and disorganized. I've added disorganized. Okay. From anxious to disorganized. Yep. I think my programming is anxious and my reaction is avoidant. Okay. But it doesn't fit how I grew up. So, okay. That's what we're going to get into right now, Paula. So, how this connects, I still feel more anxious and sometimes disorganized, but I feel through healing more and more secure, which is normal. The event with the healing, we become more secure, organized, and anxious. Okay. Thank you all. Oop. So, with that, how does this then come into the nervous system? So, when we look at these states, we can see that an anxious avoidant stays in their sympathetic nervous system because there's a lot of fear, anxiety, worry, concern, panic. They were just very, very stressed, right? And from there, that's avoidant or anxious. Avoidant leans more in the freeze response. And so freeze is just in complete shutdown. And generally, we go into freeze. We follow this map here. So a secure person's in ventral vagal most of the time. This is when we feel really open, really soft, really safe. Then anxious goes into sympathetic. And so this is the general path that we take. Something happens, our nervous system gets activated. And we're like, ooh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Worry, 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 worry. From here, we can either get calm, come back down into ventral vagal, or our nervous system can be stretched for so long. And the reason this happens with avoidance is no one ever helped them at all handle any of their emotions. So then they went into shutdown. So they were just stretching, 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 so stretched for so long that in order to save itself, the nervous system goes into shutdown and it's just frozen. Where intimacy and connection now feels like this place of I can't be close to anyone. And if we are disorganized, we generally move between these two states more often than going into ventral vagal. And so the way that this comes with attachment style, right, is these are where each of the 4 attachment styles generally operate in their nervous systems. And so I'm curious now, everyone that maybe you are identifying with parents, maybe you're identifying with how you are now, but now that we're looking at the nervous system, how does this feel for you? Does your nervous system state align with the attachment style that you were aligning with? Okay, activated in flight mode. Yep. Right. If you have any questions at all, more operating from sympathetic. Yeah. Okay. Starting with a mix, definitely disorganized. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully this can help you see now how that goes. And so generally what happens, my natural is secure, but regards, okay, I might be disorganized. Okay. So a lot of awareness. Amazing job, everyone. I love this. So generally what happens when we have a non-secure attachment and we have these fears with connection, with closeness, is our nervous system goes more on this loop than this loop. But really, this is like a natural, healthy, secure person. Goes, okay, I can get angry, fearful, whatever that may be, but then I know how to bring myself back down. Because we're not ever meant to only be in ventral vagal. It's more that it becomes overwhelming and then we can move up here, but it's how quickly can I bring myself back to feeling safe? That's really the question. How quickly can I identify that something's wrong, allow myself to feel it, transmute it, and then move back down? Whereas if we're not feeling and we're not transmuting, then these feelings of fear, anger, worry, panic, rage, whatever that may be, are stuck in the body. And that is why it's harder for the nervous system to come back to normal because it's used to being in these chemical states. It's used to operating in those ways. And it doesn't learn to feel safe in ventral vagal either. That's another big thing to just think here is, when do I feel safe and what triggers me? And so if we tie this together now with energetic frequency, we can see that based on the different states that you are just aligning with and coming back to the emotional frequencies, now it's, where do I generally vibrate, right? Which frequency am I usually in? The love frequency, higher, or the fear frequency, lower? And it's not just fear now that we see, right? It's these other emotions that are in the sympathetic and the dorsal vagal states. So that's really just something right now. A lot of this was to develop awareness around, where are you right now, right? What is your current story, your current state, knowing it's 100,000, 1,000,000% shiftable, but just having this awareness and giving yourself love. All right, I now know this about me. What can I do with this information? So coming back to that the world is always, always, always responding to you, and just letting that be your mirror. And so now that we understand, okay, maybe where am I vibrating right now? How was that vibration formed? The question is, how do we now dive in? How do we now heal that attachment style? Understanding that a secure attachment style equals a regulated nervous system, which equals vibrating more than not in the love frequency. And that's what equals magnetism. And so this is what happens when you decide that you want to heal your attachment style. Our nervous system is in these loops right now. Be in closeness. Closeness feels afraid, scary. I shut down, I push away, or I overreact. I cling to that person. That also pushes them away. I end up alone. Then I narrate the story. I'm always going to be alone. Connection isn't safe. I'm not worthy. I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. And we just keep cycling through these experiences. But with the awareness that you're developing today, now you can become aware of your cycles and decide, am I going to repeat this, or am I going to break this? Am I going to flip the script? And how do we do that? So first, I just want you to know it requires time, it requires commitment, it requires self-compassion and patience, but it is 100,000% doable from neuroplasticity. And I explain all of this scientific stuff to you so that, again, your conscious mind gets on board. Because when the conscious mind understands what you're doing, the subconscious mind can relax and just allow it to happen. And so neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to heal itself, to create new neural pathways. And so it's like when we learn a new language, we're creating new neural pathways. We're saying, hello, hola, hello, hola. Okay, these connect, these connect, these connect, these connect, these connect, until that neural pathway becomes so strong and so easy for the brain to think that every time we think hello or we see someone, we start thinking hola, and that just fires and wires without thinking. And so right now, these old programs are firing and wiring in the system. Your brain is developed to just be a machine. So to do the path that feels the easiest thing possible, which means if living in fear, although it's not comfortable or healthy or good for you to be activated, if it's easy for your brain to say connection equals fear equals unsafe equals activating sympathetic nervous system, then your brain's going to run that sequence. But the moment we notice this is the sequence and we break it and we say, my new story is connection equals safety equals openness equals happiness equals ventral vagal, coming into feeling safe, feeling open, then we create a new pathway. And your brain is designed to be able to create these new neural pathways as well. So breaking the loop can be hard. That is why it requires commitment, compassion, and patience, because it's not, I've identified this thing and I'm going to break it. So I've identified this pattern and now I'm going to commit to a new way of being. And through constant repetitive action, I'm going to make this old pathway dissolve and this new one become my new normal. The new one become the easy way for my brain to think. And you are capable of doing that. We are all 100% capable of doing that. So just let that sink in and know, no matter how you're feeling right now with this information, you are capable of change. And so I'm going to take you through now the methodology that I have used and designed that is what has helped me heal my disorganized attachment style and come into living in this love frequency. So my method is called the clam method, which recently came to be, that I started calling it the clam method, but I've had clarity, liberation, and alignment equals magnetism since I started sunshine activation in 2019. And once I really said, all right, what does clam mean? I was like, can I get on board with having my own methodology? I started researching it and it actually really, it vibes with me now. So the clam, the spiritual meaning of the clam is, so oysters are clams also, just so we're all on board there. And the clams are like bottom filter feeders, right? Any of these mollusks are like bottom filter feeders at the bottom of the ocean. And so they're the ones who are really doing like the deep shadow work. If you want to think of that's their job in the ocean is to filter through the darkness and the mud and the musk to then come to the light, to then come to the pearl. And a lot of my work is going from pain to pleasure, from fear to love, right? From the shadows to the light. And so the clam now represents something really, really beautiful for me. And it also goes very well with the words that I already had. And this methodology takes us through clarity, which is in the mind, which is the subconscious mind work that I started with, liberation, which is all of the somatic work that I have been studying for the last 2 years, alignment, which is energetics, which I've also been studying, I'd say, for the last 7 or 8 years from when I started my yoga teacher training, and magnetism is manifestation. And that's just you now understanding your frequency. And when you're able to take yourself through this process on a macro level through major traumas, but also on a micro level of clarity, what am I making this mean? Liberation, can I regulate myself through it? Alignment, can I pick the new story? Magnetism, magnet to the new reality, magnet to the new desire, magnet to the love frequency. So we are going to dive into this now. Give me a one if you're following along with this, because I know I've given you a lot right now. We've covered a lot of things, so I'm just going to pause. Any questions, any comments, anything you want to know before we dive into the clam method? Okay, one, 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 one. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Awesome. So let's dive in. One, okay. So, clarity. This is our first phase. And this is where you get clear on where you are and where you want to be. So, in clarity, you understand your attachment style, your limiting beliefs, and the root cause, which we just did a very high level deep dive. You get clear on where you want to be. What is that vision of the future that lights your soul on fire? I use this methodology in all of my work, but as it relates to love and to letting love in, which is my attachment style and nervous system regulation program, we dive deep into this just in love, just on what is my vision for my love life, for my soul tribe, for my relationships with my family. In that realm of my world, where do I want my world to look like? What do I want it to look like? And this little bullet to me is so important without outside expectations. If I didn't care about anyone judging me, what is my perfect relationship? And I think this is really, really important because when I first started getting clear on my ideal relationship, I was bilingual with my partner and I didn't speak Spanish, but that was like something that was very clear in my vision was we were speaking Spanish and I was living in San Diego at the time and I spoke English. But now being in my relationship, I moved to Barcelona. I ended up learning Spanish. I was going to school here speaking it, and my partner is from Argentina. And sometimes I feel odd that he speaks English, but he doesn't speak it like at a perfect level. I don't know that anyone does, right? We're all always learning. But he can't communicate that well with my family just yet. And sometimes I feel like icky because that expectation of what does society think about my decision to date someone who isn't fluent 100% in my native tongue and me to him, right? And that started to kind of get in my mind. But once I got clear on my vision was like us being able to share our cultures, share our languages, share our experiences through that outside of those expectations, I was able to own that vision and just say, this is me. And I don't need anyone outside of that, right? And that's why having this vision, even though it might not make sense to other people, it's yours and yours alone. And it is so important for you to be able to attach to that vision and for that to help your subconscious mind guide you. And the last part of clarity is identity. Understanding who it is that you need to be in order to bring this dream to life. And this is where identity shifting can come into play of understanding who am I now and who is it that I need to be to get to where I want to go. And so we're going to do a little exercise on clarity. If you don't have a journal and pen, that's okay. You can write it on your phone, you can write it on your laptop. But take a moment right now and ask yourself this. Why are you unhappy, hopeless, stuck, or lost in your quest for love or in every relationship? What are the stories right now that you're telling yourself? And I'm going to invite you, take a couple minutes, write these down, And once you get your biggest one, your biggest truth, put it in the chat. What's the number one reason that you're single or unhappy with love or in relationships right now? And this can be a belief that you have about yourself or about the world. Okay, because I was unable to express myself in the way I wanted to love, really, I didn't allow myself to show how I wanted to love and build that with the person. So, question there, the limiting belief that may be deeper, is it unsafe for you to express yourself? For you to say how you want to be loved? Is that a feeling that you have, Chloe? Merce. I have to choose between growing, being truly myself, or being in a relationship, which is not compatible at all for me. Yes, I feel that. I feel both of those. Thinking no partner, right, is going to be able to grow at the capacity that I am or allow me to grow. My anxiety and insecureness is too much to handle, so I'm better off alone and pushing people away. Yep. I feel that too. And thank you all so much for your vulnerability and your openness. I'm scared to be trapped. I used to get anxious or think I was too masculine, so I attract feminine men and I don't allow them to be in their masculine. I used to think I would find someone better, but now in the end, I think it's me not feeling good enough. Yep. Oh, thank you for sharing your hearts, girls. I've been always told I'm too much, so now I'm scared to be seen. I think we hear that. We all hear that too much. I'm too strange. What I say doesn't make sense. I've put myself in boxes. Yep. It's hard to express myself and be extremely vulnerable. I have too many images of people looking at me with negative experiences. Thank you, loves. Thank you so, so much for sharing this. So, we're going to stay in clarity right now, and I'm just going to ask the question. Is this 100% true? So, without even reading the rest of this, just tell me, is all of these beliefs 100% true? And thank you, Silvana. And tell me yes or no. Is the belief that you have about yourself without a shadow of a doubt 100% true? Not true. Okay. What's everyone else feeling? Is that 100% true for you? Yes or no? No. Okay. Not true. Okay, already, yep, going into that new belief. Amazing. not true. So, as we can see, right, these beliefs, even though they feel like facts, like they literally feel like a fact in our body, and it's like, I've been proven that time and time and time and time again. Now, it's if that is not 100% true, even if there is only 0.00001% that something else is true for me, then it can be shifted. So now the invitation is, what is that new belief? What if the opposite were true? What is your new belief about yourself, about love, about relationships? How are you going to shift that? And write that in the chat. Oh, I love these. I am more than enough, and I am ready to build a long-term, fun, inspiring, and uplifting relationship. I am worthy, and I can find someone who matches my openness, love, and curiosity for life. I am lovable with all that I am. I create a life and living in my purpose and create this happiness for myself. And I attract someone who can share this happiness with me, but it is not the root of it. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Ah, thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. I'm strange and powerful. I attract others who are the same, and we create a different world together. Yes, 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 yes. Knowing that your uniqueness is your superpower. All of these things that we hear of being too much, of being whatever it is, these are our superpowers. And when we get to start shifting them and seeing that's what's actually going to attract the right people to us, that's when life starts to change. Amazing. So we're going to move in. I can find someone that will embrace the love I have to give and that will understand how to love me. Yes. Amazing. So we're going to move into liberation now. And so, liberation in this phase, I'm worthy. Someone will fully see me and love me for all that I am. Yes, 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 yes. Liberation in this phase is all about somatic healing. So this is where trauma release practices and nervous system regulation come in. And because nervous system regulation and attachment style are so deeply connected, this phase is so important of just releasing all of the old stories, all of the trauma held in the body. So, in this phase, this is where you free your body, your mind, and your spirit of what's keeping you stuck. So, you're releasing that trapped energy. You're creating safety in the body as well to feel the full range of your emotions. So, rather than operating in this little capacity of like, I only let this much connection in, it's when I let this much connection in and it feels scary and fearful, then it's also going to feel this much of love, of joy, of happiness, of connection. And so it's expanding the nervous system's capacity to hold these full range of emotions. And it also allows us to move from living in the mind to living in the body and being able to see, does this actually feel good for me? Does this feel right and true for my body? And being able to trust the body rather than all of these outdated programs of the mind. And so we're going to do a little somatic experiencing practice right now. So I'm going to play some music once more. And I'm going to invite you, my loves, to just get comfortable once more. And with somatics, if your eyes are closed, I'm just going to invite you to open them again and start to take a look around and just start to orient yourself with where you are. So, a lot of us live in our minds over our bodies. And so, before we drop in, we always just want to create safety. So, even if you've been in this room a million times, see it for the first time. Look at what is to your left, on the walls, on the floor, to your right, on the ceiling, on the floor. Just take in the whole space and start to take some deep breaths as you do this. And when you're ready, when you feel like your body really knows where you are, maybe you even want to look behind you. Then close your eyes. Drop in. And take a deep breath. In through the nose. On the exhale, let your energy, your mind dissolve like a puddle beneath the shoulders into the body. And start to just breathe in the heart for a moment here. And just notice what's happening beneath the hood, beneath the surface. We're going to play around right now with an exercise called titration, which is moving between two energies and noticing how they feel in the body. So I'm going to invite you to first think of that old limiting belief, the story that you had told yourself about love, about worth, about relationships. And start to notice as you think this thought, this belief, come back into the body and notice what's happening in the body. How is your heartbeat? How is your breath? Is there any tightness or tingling or contraction? Heaviness, tension, numbness. Focus on the one area of the body where you feel this the most. And just remember to breathe as you connect with these sensations. And then let that go for a moment. Take a deep breath. Maybe shake it off. You can even open your eyes if that was intense. And then start to think about that new empowering belief. What's that new story that you're believing now? What's true for you? What's that new reality, that new truth, that new frequency that you're choosing to vibrate at? What does that feel like in the body? How is your heartbeat? How is your breath? there any tension or tingling or openness, aliveness, warmth, lightness? Focus on where you feel the sensation the most when you think this positive thought, and just breathe into that. Let it expand. And now, while you're focusing on this positive thought, if you could give it a color or a texture or a shape, how would it appear? And while you hold that, can you invite the other feeling, the limiting belief, to also be present at the same time, and to show up in your body with its own color, texture, shape? Can you hold the two experiences at the same time? And just notice that you can, that they can both exist. You can be afraid and you can still love. You can think you're not worthy and you can still open yourself to receive love. You can be too much and still be loved for every part of who you are. And so imagine now that these energies can start to just merge together. What would the color become if these energies were allowed to exist at the same time? What would that feel like in your body? And just remember to keep breathing throughout this whole experience. And just breathe into the heart. And little by slowly, you can let that feeling dissolve and just start to deepen your breath once more, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes. And when you're ready, you can slowly start to open your eyes and come back to the room. Mm. And I would love to hear in the chat how that was. How's everyone feeling? What came up for you? Even if you want to speak it, feel free. Mm. How are we feeling? Very intense, yeah. Can be going into the body for sure. Amazing job. Just letting yourself go there. My love is light and yellow, coming from my solar plexus. Hmm. Beautiful. Yeah. So I wanted to just share this so you guys could get a feel of what it feels like to drop into the body, because this was something that honestly was life-changing for me. I am very mental, especially Gemini, Mercury, always, always, always in the mind, over analyzing everything. And over analyzing is a trauma response, right? It's when we get out of the body, we decide one day it's no longer safe to be in the body and we live in the mind. So we're always looking for proof of things with the mind that it's not safe. But the more we can allow ourselves to go into the body, we create this regulation and this mind body connection. Tension, okay, from the limiting belief and the thoughts, and then the new belief, calm, expansive, and happy. Beautiful. Thanks, Carla. So the question now is super nice, anxious fear, gray with weird form, love light, expansion. It hugged the other feeling, dissolved it. Beautiful. Love that. So where do you guys feel that you live more after that? Oh, one. Okay. One. Okay. Okay. Thank you all for sharing. Yep, it's a process. It's definitely a process. And again, this is all just to create awareness, because that's all healing work. There's no destination, right? Every day we're just gathering more awareness, more tools, more love for ourselves to take ourselves to a state of even more openness. But there's no rush. There's nowhere that you need to be other than where you are right now in this moment. And so this last phase is alignment. And so from alignment, and the reason these go in these order is it's having this awareness of where am I, creating the safety and getting rid of what's keeping us stuck. And now it's like from this empowered place that now we're like this badass queen that is, which we already were, but now we're feeling it, right? Now we're connecting to it. And we're like, now I'm the master of my energy. Like only I decide what is true and right for me, who gets access to me. This is where standards come in, boundaries come in, healing your masculine and feminine energy come in, and magnifying that unique point of attraction. And this is where it becomes so like alignment, I think, is my favorite phase, even though I love all of the deep, sad work and my inner emo girl like wants to stay there. But once you get to tap into just being like, I am the fucking master of my universe, right? Like that is alignment energy. That is alignment energy. And so we're going to do a little bit now. This is the wrong slide. So, nope, just kidding. Okay. From victim to creatrix. So, in this, I've talked a lot about these limiting beliefs, right? And a lot of times, the reason this can feel so heavy is we feel like the victim of these beliefs, right? We feel like my childhood sucked. My parents got divorced. Every boyfriend I've ever had cheated on me. No one loves me. This guy decided he didn't want to live with me. I'm going to go on with my own story and my beliefs. Then I moved to Barcelona. The guy I moved here for didn't want to be with me. Now I'm alone. No one likes me. Wow, 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 right? And it's so easy to get stuck in that hole of just like being the victim. And we have to give that side of ourselves love, because that side has been shit on like from day one, right? And so it's okay. It's okay to feel like the victim, and don't beat yourself up when you do. Just notice, just get the clarity on being the victim. All right, what does the victim need, right? What does that sad part of me need right now? How do I liberate them from this feeling? And then how do I align? How do I step into the creatrix and choose my new desire, choose my new way of thinking, of being, of feeling, of acting? And this is really where you turn into that creatrix where it's like anything you touch is gold because you decide, because you said no more of that, right? Yeah, there's still space for it because I'm going to ride that wave, but I'm not going to ride it like this anymore. I'm deciding to find my center. I'm deciding to create expansion and safety in who I am and choose who gets access to my energy. And in this is when we really feel like, oh, I create this. I create anything that I desire, any love that I desire. So I know we just went deep and heavy, but we're going to do just a little bit of dancing, of movement. So if you don't want to go that hard, that's completely fine. I honor and respect that. But if you want to get up and move around, please do, and let the feelings, let the energy that your body just created the safety to feel, to now be moved. Okay. I didn't pick a song for this, but we're going to go. All right. So I'm going to dance with you. So I'm going to just invite you all to get up from where you are. If you feel called, you can move as much or as little as you want. I would love for you to put your cameras on, even if I have no rhythm. So don't worry. There's no embarrassment here. Okay. And my Spotify disappeared. Give me one more moment. Okay. All right. So now tapping into this creatrix energy is tapping into what is this new reality going to feel like? And we're going to create safety in the body for that. What would it feel like to be walking down the street and see the hottest guy or girl you've ever seen, to lock eyes with them and for them to just be fucking magnetized to you? That they just start rambling, they ask you on a date, they need your number, they need you right now, right here. They are emotionally available, they're goal driven, they have your sense of humor, they like your music. What would that feel like in your body? That's what I want you to move to right now. She can love you like I do. She can love you like What would it feel like to hear you are never too much? Give me more. How would it feel to be crying and your partner knew exactly what to say to you to make you feel better? If you're doubting yourself and he knew how to hold your fears, your doubts, any part of you, How does that feel in your body? All right, my loves. I love this song, but we're gonna reel it in. Amazing. Thank you. How is everyone feeling just after that? Amazing. Loved it. Amazing. This is one of my favorite practices. Joyful, relaxed, and connected. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Feeling cute. Yes, you are cute. And this is something that, thank you, Lachelle, you can do every day. Like I just say, this is how my day is gonna go, right? And then I dance to that in the morning and it just shifts the energy right away. So amazing. So from that, I didn't know where to put this, but I feel like it's super important to understand as we talk about energy. And so, oh my God, I have to catch my breath. But in alignment, there are millions, trillions, infinite possibilities for you that are available. And so the reason this is so important is like we go through the clam method, right? And it's like I'm clear on where I'm vibrating. Am I love or am I fear? Then I have to choose again, love or fear, love or fear, love or fear, right? And so it's over and over and over again, making the choice of where you want to be and understanding that there's no like fate and there's no right or wrong, there's no fixed destination. And I don't say that to discredit fate. And if you're like, I'm a strong believer, this is my fate, this is my destiny. Yes, I believe we have soul contracts, but how we carry those out is our choice, right? And so maybe you'll get to the same place in the end, but how are you going to arrive there? And you get to choose that. And I feel like that's really being in your creatrix energy, is really being like, I choose the path. I choose if this is going to be a good day or a bad day. And that doesn't mean I choose to always stay in love, joy, happiness, but that means what am I going to make this negative feeling mean about me, right? Can I hold that frequency and still stay in love? Can I hold shame? Can I hold my shadow? Can I hold the parts of myself that I deem unlovable in the love frequency? And when you can choose that and still stay open and soft and allow, that's being in alignment. That's being in that creatrix energy. Because we're going to feel the full range of emotions, but it's when we're feeling that full range of emotion, am I doing it from this place of fear and contraction, or am I doing it from love and allowing of myself and openness, right? And once we bring all of those three together, that is magnetism. Magnetism is what happens at the end. That's how you feel right now, like at your highest frequency when you've done this work and then you decide that's not it anymore. That's not who I choose to be. That's not the program that I choose to run anymore. I am deciding now to heal, to expand my capacity, to open my heart, and to just be fucking irresistible. And the reason I am so passionate about this is because I literally did meet my partner like walking down the street one day looking for a jewelry store. And he just happened to be outside of his bike shop and started talking to me. And thank God I was 1 week out of Spanish school and I was able to speak Spanish with him. And we were like able to connect. And he was able to be there for me as I healed my attachment style over this last year and hold space for me. But that was like such a magnet point of it took everything in my life for us to get to that point to align, of me like moving here with no plans, no job, no money, know nothing and just believing it because that's what my soul told me to do. That's what my vision was. My vision was so clear, and I had done the liberation work to get rid of any of those subconscious beliefs or doubts that told me I couldn't. And I came here and I feel like I attracted the love of my life, or he attracted me. I don't know, but it was this magnetism and this openness. And like that is what has caused me to make this program, because it has significantly changed my life. And I hated love. Like I used to tell all of my exes, like, I'm gonna have a guest house and I'm gonna live there. And then I'll come in for like dinner and then just please leave me alone. And I'm like gonna be living there with like all of the animals. And I thought that was literally my reality. Like all of my friends, the joke is they have guest houses for me. I'm the third wheel. Like I was this forever alone, afraid of love girl. And maybe if you're happy there, I don't think you'd be on this masterclass, but it's like you can have deep love. You literally can. I believe in it so wholeheartedly. And I hope that this process has helped you to believe that and believe in yourself. Believe that you are worthy and able and capable of attracting, maintaining, and holding deep, healthy, secure relationships. And this happens when you decide, right? It's what happens when you decide that everything's going to work for me. I do get to have a sexy, abundant, loving, makes your panties wet and your heart full. Oh my God, I love having to read these things back. But it really is like that is available to you. And the universe will work with you to deliver it if you say, my heart is open to unlimited possibilities beyond what I could even imagine. All I have to do is vibrate at that love frequency, right? All I have to do is maintain that frequency and let myself be open to receive and let the onion, the layers peel away so that it's just me in my real raw truth vibrating at love. And so from that, this is the decision, right? It's like we're on the fence. What do I do? What do I go from here? How do I heal myself? Do I dive in? It's scary. It's hard. Yes, it is. I'm not going to lie, right? This journey was not easy for me. It required me like facing so much shit and having to really own up to who am I and what is the part that I have played in my own suffering. And that's where you move from victim to creatrix. It's like none of this happened to me, it happened for me. And now I need to say, when was I the asshole? When was I the bad guy? When was I the one who was wrong? And I was blaming other people just to keep myself safe, right? This perceived reality, this perceived feeling of safety, when really I was pushing people away. And in this, like when I met my partner, I was so avoidant that he, like 8 months into our relationship, he literally was like, are you in this or not? And if you're not, then I'm not, right? I'm not gonna, and I think that's what a secure person does. They know their boundaries, they know their limits. And then I really had to step up to the plate and get honest with myself. Am I going to decide to go all in or not? Am I going to lose a good, secure, honest love that feels right again because I'm not willing to own my own stuff and heal it? Or am I willing to take that step and move forward? And so that's the decision right now that is sitting with you all, right? On where to go. And so from that, all of my master classes always lead into my offers. If you follow me on Instagram, you know letting love in is like I eat shit, breathe, letting love in. I absolutely love it. And it's something that now I've taken from a course that had weekly calls that was really like I was setting the pace into a self-paced program. And so Letting Love In is a 12-week interactive course that's designed to help you do everything that we just did. Heal your attachment trauma, improve your nervous system's regulation, and become that point of attraction for deep, secure love. And going backwards, as I always do. So this is for you if you're ready to decide. If you really are like, I'm ready to go all in and do the deep work and receive that direct guidance, this program is for you. This is everything I've done over the last 2 years, put into 12 weeks of deep, deep, deep work. And so from that, it's not for you if you're not ready for that, because as you've seen from my questions, from everything I've been asking you, I'm not a shallow girl. I don't keep it surface level. I'm going to dive you deep into your depths, into your inner child, into your traumas, into everything in your body and in your mind to really uncover what is there and get to the root of that magnetism. We follow the clam method in letting love in, which I hope now every time you see a clam, you think of me. And this is the breakdown of the modules. So it goes for 4 modules in clarity, in hypnotherapy work, subconscious mind work, 4 modules in liberation, which is through somatics, and 4 modules in alignment, which is all about energetics and energetics and alignment. So I'm going to leave this for a second just so you can read it. But we start with understanding the foundations of attachment and the nervous system, understanding your attachment style as well, and everything that has gotten you to where you are. Then building that vision and really defining what are your desires and that new identity, and upgrading outdated coping mechanisms and strategies. Then in the somatic section, it's a lot of inner child healing, releasing old shadows, angers, forgiveness, healing with toxic shame and guilt, as well as heartbreak and grief. And the last section in alignment, this is where we really go into the energetic reset of transformational breath work, masculine and feminine balancing, understanding your boundaries, your needs, that love frequency, really being able to open to trust, to confidence, to a strong sense of self-worth, and then understanding how to create that unique point of attraction and magnify it. So I'll share with you all of my practices, all of my studies, everything else. Ooh, excuse me. Okay, thanks, Carla. And what's featured in here is 12 recorded practices, as well as 12 different modules. So there's homework, there's soul work, there's somatic practices, weekly recordings, meditations, a bunch of access to different things for each week, as well as an intimate Telegram group that I drop into once a week, and we do Q&A, and then an online library of other recordings. And the investment is, there are 3 different tiers here. So there is the standard, which is $9.95, and that can be paid in 2 or 3 payment plans. That includes access to everything. The silver is pay in full for this same price, and it includes 1 private 60-minute session with me. And then gold is a one-on-one, which includes 3 90-minute sessions with me. And right now, because you are on this masterclass, you're the first to receive this. For the next 48 hours, I'm offering you $200 off on your investment. And you have an email right now with the link to this, to the website. There's way more information that I could give in this presentation, but it is all there for you. And that's it. This is really just that invitation, right? To step into that power as the creatrix, to open your heart and magnetize yourself to that love, to your tribe, to your soulmate. And that's all, my love. So thank you so much. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'm happy to stay on and answer them, or anything that you want to say now. Or you can DM me. Yes, thank you, Chloe. And I'm going to stop the recording now. But mwah.